We think about the metaverse in this kind of like Mark Zuckerberg, weird Second Life kind of, we're all sitting there with an avatar, and I actually think that's not it. I think the metaverse is sitting on Zoom all day long, but with better technology, where you can join and you can hang out, and you feel like you're hanging out, and you feel like you're communicating more naturally.
I love experiences I've had with VR, especially live events, concerts and sports events, where you're turning your head. I love it. It brings you more into it, just like video games that bring you more into them physically.
Welcome to the Metaverse. Yeah, okay, the Metaverse isn't actually that pixelated.
And there's more than just empty space. Nightclubs, shops, gaming arcades, business meeting rooms, cinemas, and much more. To make it look good, you can just catapult yourself into the Metaverse. Here at the Digital X at the Duke Company, you become a 3D avatar. Simply get scanned by 78 cameras, become a 3D person. Although I actually thought the Metaverse was cool right now because you do not look like the real thing. Oh well, let's see what Sarah says.
Looks better than in real life, to be honest. Just kidding, but real avatars seem to be a good chance for real services. In South Korea, they've already had the idea to move the entire office system to the Metaverse, while we're still discussing here in Germany whether the fax is needed or not.
The big question is, what exactly is the Metaverse being developed for?
To serve as a new reality.
How does this affect us?
And is it worth diving into the Metaverse as a business?
Well, I get inspired and excited by everything digital.
Metaverse is very interesting, but I don't know how it will manifest with work. It might just be video games, but maybe playing a game in work is good. I don't know yet.
If you're starting something without any risk, it's just a sure known thing. That's kind of dread. That's not innovation.
The idea of video being a communication is something that is emergent from the younger people, not the older people. I think that will change how business communication exists.
We have this beautiful, wonderful digital world, and then we have to deal with it. The user interface is horrible. To me, it's the human or the technology. Which is more important? So I want to get back to that.
In the business sector, Metaverse, I think, will be a big part of it, because as we've seen over the last few years, working from home is an option. What happens is we have to manufacture those kind of social interactions.
When artificial intelligence thinks it knows better than you, you're in trouble. And that's the problem with Web 3.0. It's going to take all of today's technologies. Yes, it could wind up being even a more controlled situation, but since the intent is not.
We don't have the same camaraderie that we once had with business, where you'd go your first day of work, they give you a computer, you meet your coworkers, you maybe have lunch. Nowadays, it's like you meet your coworkers on Zoom, you go to your kitchen and make a sandwich, and then you eat kind of sadly at your desk. I think what's going to happen is people are just not going to have the connection that we once had.
I'm convinced that after the way the internet went on its own, that it's going to take regulation. So we can use laws to say you, the institutions, the companies of the world, will not do certain bad things. You will not behave in certain bad ways. Europe is far ahead of the United States in this regard.
I worry that in the future, that technology looks the same as it does today. Because technology today, the problems we have with social media, the problems we have with misinformation, disinformation, a lot of that is because the teams that are building these platforms are not diverse. And we have to invest heavily in making sure that we don't make the same mistakes.
Okay, you too. No more virtual reality. I am as real as your tax declaration. You have now heard some arguments. What are you, team reality or team virtuality?
Yeah, okay, buddy, we're on it. I mean, it's a tough question. So, are you pro or con?
I must say I'm pro. I think the Metaverse is really exciting. It expands our reality in a way we haven't seen before. It reminds me of the internet at its beginnings. We have no idea in which direction it will take us.
You can remember the
awesome.
beginning of the internet? Good memory.
Sort of.
You also have a good memory. I see you're super hyped, but actually I think there are a lot of topics we haven't discussed yet. For example, data security. I mean, it can steal your identity. There is no real solution. And what I think is the most important thing now, we have to see some use cases, especially for businesses. Everyone says, you have to go to the Metaverse. And I think, yes, why? What should I do there? And I think that is the point where we have to figure out what is really working, especially in the business sector. So I think it's an extension, but it will never replace the real life. That's my opinion.
And which team do you belong to?
Are you team real world?
Or are you team virtual world?
Write us in the comments below.
Okay friends, I'm sick of reality. Make me an avatar too.